Good morning, students. Welcome to Science from my back porch this morning. This week we will be working in modules 14 and 15. Assignments posted are module 14, a study B sheet, which is essentially just some matching terms and definitions. You will be asked to perform experiment 14.4, which is an example of the vocal cords, so you'll need a rubber band or two to perform that experiment. I'm going to ask you to view Red River of Life by the Moody Institute of Science on YouTube. There's a link you can copy and paste from supplemental info section under assignments. And I want you to do that first before you read my thoughts on the video and listen to sort of my lecture over that video, which will be posted separately. I will also have you complete module 15 vocabulary fill-in quiz. I'll post the answer key so you can open the attachment and check your answers. But I do want you to read that module this week too. We are wrapping up the year here, and I hear that we are not going to meet again. I've asked if I could have the last 2 weeks of dissection either at my home or maybe at the park under a pavilion, but I got word this morning the answer is no. So I've got to figure out how to proceed the last 2 weeks, because we had worked ahead throughout the year so we could do dissections the last 2 weeks of class. So we'll figure out something. But meanwhile, for this week, we'll just give a little bit of short lecture on the respiratory system. So the respiratory system includes everything that the air passes through to get to your lungs, and the lungs as well. So if you close your mouth and take a deep breath, and can breathe through your nose, first thing is your nose has some wonderful little tiny hairs called cilia in there, just like some of the Protista monera had little cilia that help those creatures move. Your nose has little cilia, which kind of protects you against invading particles, whether living or not, like dust. These little cilia will push those particles towards the front of the nose and get you ready to sneeze and expel them. There's also a sticky mucus that lines the nose, especially if you're sick. This mucus gets thicker because it's full of bacteria that builds up, and the mucus gets thick. It may change color, but all of this takes place to keep you healthy. After you inhale, the air moves from the nose through the pharynx, trachea, larynx, and larynx is another word for your voice box, down into the outtakes. Into your bronchial tubes. So you have a left primary and a right primary tube that leads to your left and right lungs. In the lungs, these tubes can branch off into bronchioles, and finally into little tiny sacs called alveoli. And there's a condition called emphysema where these little sacs get damaged from smoking or maybe inhaling some particles that cause damage over time. My grandfather never smoked, but he was a carpenter and inhaled a lot of dust, and over time he developed emphysema. It can be fatal, and so there's many diseases that can affect how much air your lungs can hold, your lung capacity, and how these little tiny sacs function. Whenever you inhale and your oxygen gets to the lungs, the blood cells take over, and it's really an amazing process that happens. Your blood cells cannot take oxygen in the form of gas to your cells to keep them alive and nourish them. And I think the best thing to do is to watch the Red River of Life video and just learn about what all happens on that amazing journey the blood cells make through the heart and lungs delivering nutrients and oxygen to your cells, picking up waste, what has to happen, all the chemical changes, I think, that take place during that process just to keep you alive are amazing. Proof of intentional design. I don't think there's any way all of these processes could have evolved and happened accidentally. So as soon as you can, go to the assignment, copy the link, and go watch the YouTube video. I think it's 38 minutes. I also posted a couple other crash course videos about the heart. I have a video out there. It's a time lapse of experiment 14.5, where you put some red and blue dye in different waters and you let a carnation flower absorb overnight, and it's a pretty cool video. And so if you have any questions, you can just reach out to me. You have my cell phone number, you have my email address, you can leave me a message on iGrade Plus. I hope you have a great week.